Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing episode 3 of Tales of the Underworld, so let's get into this. So as previously mentioned, Tales of the Underworld is focused on Vintress and Cad Bane, so the first 3 episodes are Vintress. So we watched the first 2 episodes, waited a couple days, watched the 3rd one, so we're kind of watching it sporadically because we're really into Survivor season 47 right now. So good. So this 3rd episode I felt like was a waste. You have short episodes that are like 10, barely 15 minutes long. And so you have a very short amount of time. And with short tales or stories or whatever, you always want to tell the most important events, and because you don't have much time. And I felt like this was a very wasted episode that could have been spent with her finding the path, finding Quinlan Voss, doing something important, and it was more of a filler episode. Now, if you have a series like the Clone Wars, where you have hundreds of episodes, or, you know, Avatar: The Last Airbender, there's going to, and each one's a half an hour long, you're going to have a few episodes that are filler episodes. They always have that. Like in Avatar, for example, there's the episodes where Aang wants to go somewhere and do something fun, and so there's a whole episode spent on this side quest that Aang wants to go on before it gets back to the main points of the season. And the Clone Wars kind of had some of those as well. Like they would have some where R2-D2 and C-3PO would get themselves into trouble, and it was just like a filler episode. Or the episode about the younglings or whatever. So, which wasn't filler because it actually did show a lot about the youngling process, but either way. So you have series like that, but this is not one of those. This is a tale of really short stories, so you have to focus on the highlights. There is no time for filler. Essentially, Ventress and the kid get on this place, and it's essentially also, the other thing was that irritated me was that it was like not creative, because it was essentially like Tatooine. It was a desert. They seemed like they were farmers for moisture, like water. They needed resources and stuff like that. And so it was kind of just like a Tatooine reboot or rehashed version of Tatooine. And she stumbles on this guy who's now a farmer, but he used to be like a commander on the separatist side of things. So they kind of relate to each other, and they need water. So he sends them on this side quest with his daughter, granddaughter, whatever, to get water. Apparently the water from this spring is like basically owned or whatever by these like native people who are like fish-like aliens, and they come and chase them, and then Ventress talks to them and they all work out together. So it was kind of like filler, and at the very end she helps him find, like, there's a hidden canyon where supposedly there's the Jedi escaping on the path. They never actually talked to anybody to confirm any of this. She's just like, oh, there's a ship, there's some people, there you go. And he ended up staying with her anyway. So the whole trip of trying to get him to safety and help him find the path was pointless, because she changed her mind about wanting to go see Quinlan Voss. He changed his mind about going and decided to stay with her anyway. So it was like, what was the point of all of this? And I get that like character arcs can sometimes change their mind. And I still don't understand the whole price of like your heart, you lose your heart's desire. Like, does she not love Quinlan anymore? Like, was that the price she paid? Because it never explicitly said. And they've been through some stuff together, but I don't know if it was enough for him to actually choose her over the path. And it was just like filler, you know, and it touched on at the very end. And so I was expecting something major to happen, or them to bring Quinlan Voss into it, and they never did. And it was just really, frankly, it was really boring. And then with Disney, I don't trust them not to try to insert some sort of woke messaging in there. So my brain was thinking, oh, you know, the white guy is farming on the natives' land, and like, you know, the whole conflict there kind of seemed like it had a subtle or woke kind of version of messaging there. So I didn't like it, and not just because of that, but like the major part was like the filler and how it didn't do anything for either character, because they've already been working together. The focus was on this conflict with those native fish people and the spring and the water, and trying to resolve the conflict, and how the commander guy was the one in the wrong because he was still living in war and didn't know how else to react to it. And so it didn't really push Ventress's character forward. It didn't push the kids forward. You still have the concept that he could have been Kanan, because especially since he didn't, because I was like, okay, he's going to go on the path and they're going to separate, and Kanan never did find that, which I don't know why Kanan didn't, so now you have to explain that. adding in this path thing, but the kid didn't even go on the path, and therefore it still could fit Kanan's story, because he goes with Vintress, he stays with her for a while, and eventually at some point they split up and he meets Hera and kind of joins that whole thing, and then Rebels happens. It was a very big missed opportunity, and I don't understand the point of bringing Vintress back just for this, especially if she was only like in Bad Batch. I don't know what she did, so maybe there was something important there, but if she did something kind of small, like a small role in that season or series or whatever, then what was the point in like doing this whole big potentially canon breaking thing just to bring her back, undo the perfect ending that she had in the book, just to do some little things like this? And to me, it felt like a filler episode where they wanted to leave it open to springboard into another show at some point, because it's like, as an author, I can see these things, and maybe like the average movie person can just enjoy it for what it is, and that's fine. But like for me, when I look at stuff like this, like an episode like this one, it literally seems like Disney and Lucasfilm is just creating content to provide more content to create, if that makes sense, rather than creating content to tell a good story. There's a huge difference there. Like if you create content and it's so good that it will naturally need more, like, you know, the story may need more, the audience will want more, you want to do more of it, you love it, that sort of thing. That'll happen naturally without it feeling forced. And in this case, you're making content not for a good story, but only to springboard to keep generating content so you can keep people subscribed, you can keep making money. And it's just more of like a corporate money style way of making stories instead of actually making them for the story. If you genuinely wanted to do right by Ventress's character, then if you brought her back, you would do it for a bigger purpose, like Ahsoka, or you would have actually done Quinlan Vos and actually delved into the path and what that is and what that's like. But instead, it's open, and I feel like, oh, they're probably going to fill it in with comic books or books that not the average fan is going to read, and or another show at some point, or a live action adaptation, or whatever the case is, when they could have taken this chance to tell the most important stories. And I really didn't like it. It was really, like, it wasn't as bad as Tales of the Empire, but it was like 3 stars because it wasn't interesting. And it just kind of took this really exciting premise, and you're building up to this path, and you're building up to Quinlan Vos and Ventress being reunited, and then it just, like, falls off. And I just didn't like it. So overall, I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. The last one was filler, and I'm just questioning some of the stuff that they did that may or potentially break canon. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and what you thought of Ventress's arc in these episodes, and these episodes specifically. So yeah, and I'll be, as soon as I do watch those other 3 videos that are Cad Bane's, I will be reviewing them. But anyways, if you liked this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more writing and reading videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In the meantime, if you like my review of Tales of the Underworld, with these ones that are with Ventress's story, then check out my review of Tales of the Jedi. I did review those, and those were actually good. None of them are filler. They did tell us something new, and they were amazing. And I give you all of my thoughts and details specifically about those, so check those out. You don't want to miss them.